Overcoming Depression, Getting Up on Getting Down, 21 Techniques to Help by Professor Nigel MacLennan. Vast numbers of people have their wellness impaired by depression. What is depression? What causes depression? Which approaches work to overcome depression? What can you do if you experience the early indicators to prevent deterioration? What do we understand and not understand about depression? What best protects you against depression? Although there are no reliable figures for the number of people who experience depression in their lifetime, there are broad indicators. Around 20% of people experience suicidal thoughts. That means, in all likelihood, every family is impacted by at least one person who experiences depression. What causes depression is a question most people can answer in part from their own personal experience. Almost everyone has experienced reactive depression after a major loss. The death of a loved one can trigger depression. In many cases, that reactive depression is an entirely normal reaction to major life adversity. In time, most people regain their spirits. Clinical depression, or as it is more recently known, major depressive disorder, is another matter. Frankly, we don't know what causes most cases. There are many factors known to be strongly connected to depression, such as sleep deprivation, poor social conditions, cognitive style, life experiences, gut biome, biological changes, genetics, environmental hazards, and substance misuse. Although we can list many implicated factors, we are still unable to determine if or how those factors lead to depression. Some appear to be unidirectional, others bidirectional. Some appear to compound each other, and some may be mediating variables. Our understanding is rudimentary, to say the most. The widespread medicalization of depression implies that there is some known cause, some pathogen, some medical, some clinical cause. In almost all cases, there is no discernible medical cause. Some medical conditions are associated with depression, such as hepatic diseases, hypothyroidism, diabetes, and Parkinson's disease. In many cases, if the disease is treatable and treated, the depression abates. That tells us that there are some known biochemical causes of depression. It is not to say that we know precisely what is going on chemically in the body to cause depression, or to say that any chemical changes that take place are the direct or indirect causes of depression. We just don't know enough about the interplay of the biological systems to say what is going on. With no single verifiable cause of the depression problem, there can be no fail-safe solution. As is the case with many mental health problems, it is likely there is no single cause of depression, and that a multitude of variables interact in ways that we currently do not understand. The best we can currently do is observe and seek to identify its characteristics and strive to ameliorate depression based on flimsy theories, many of which are either untestable, because they are circular theories, or cannot be scientifically tested for practical or ethical reasons. According to the DSM-5 TR, quoted directly at the end of this article, for educational purposes, much of the mental health practitioner's assessment on whether or not someone suffers from a normal depressive reaction to loss or something more serious is a judgment based on the individual's history and the cultural norms for the expression of distress in the context of loss. Let's flesh that out. In plain language, there is no agreed or recognized distinction between normal response to loss and more enduring and serious depression. Problematic too is the inclusion of cultural norms. That means there is a tacit acknowledgement that depression has a cultural element. Context too is admitted to play a part. Depression, even to people who have spent much time analysing and thinking about it, may be, in large part, a social rather than medical phenomenon. To my knowledge, rarely, if ever, in history has any medication cured a contextual, cultural or social phenomenon. Here is a brief summary of the characteristics of depression. Subdued or depressed mood. Feeling low, sad, empty or hopeless. Feeling worthlessness or guilty. Finding no or little pleasure in anything. Normal appetite is disrupted, either over or under eating. Either lack of sleep or excess sleep. Either restlessness or reduced speed in all movements. Low energy levels or fatigue. Impaired ability to concentrate. Frequent thoughts of death, suicide, or planning for self-termination. If you have ever tried to communicate with someone who is really depressed, not just dealing with a short-term loss, you may have sensed the depth of their despair and hopelessness. There is no medication that can cure depression, but some can offer amelioration. However, all have either side effects or the risk of serious side effects, including worsening the depression. Others cause such horrible withdrawal symptoms that they create addicts. Here is an even more alarming observation. We have no way of predicting who will suffer the most dangerous side effects, which can include increased risk of suicide. In the absence of an effective cure, and the presence of dangerous side effects and risk of addiction, the best method of treatment is prevention. Some people seem able to keep themselves happy and avoid depression and all other mental health problems for life. Why? How? Which techniques do they use? Fortunately, all the methods are free or very low cost and easy to understand, although they may take some time to master. Here are 21 techniques to minimize your chances of getting down and maximize your chances of getting up, if you do. 1. Eat a varied and healthy diet. That is important to maximize the chances that your gut biome is as healthy as possible and to ensure that you get all the minerals and vitamins you need. 2. Avoid nervous system depressants such as alcohol and opioids. 3. Exercise regularly, enough to stay healthy, but not so much as to injure yourself or leave yourself feeling permanently fatigued. 4. Avoid smoking and exposure to other toxic chemicals, including those found in vapes. 5. Keep your weight under control and within healthy limits. 6. Avoid chemicals that cause swings in mood, such as caffeine and sugar. It is easier to regulate your mood when you don't have to deal with chemically induced instability. 7. Keep a stable routine. For most people, a regular life pattern is beneficial for mental health. For others, endless variety works best. Find out which is best for you and follow it. 8. When you face some of life's common negative experiences, seek support from friends and relatives. Be honest about your feelings and thoughts, and listen to those who have successfully dealt with the change. 9. Surround yourself with people who take responsibility for their thoughts, feelings and behaviours. Those who, in the face of adversity, look for solutions, ways of coping and adjusting. 10. When negative thoughts jump into your head, note them. Remember that you can't choose what jumps into your head, but you can choose what stays there. 11. Apply the same technique with your emotions. Accept that you cannot control what emotions will surface quickly, but you can choose what emotions you dwell on. 12. Choose your behaviours to maximise your mood and build your mental health. Most of what is on this list is designed to give you ideas in that regard. 13. Choose what goes into your brain. Negative and depressing material going in will create the ideal conditions for depression coming out. Feed your brain with positive and uplifting material. 14. Engage in activities and hobbies that you enjoy. Why? getting into the zone or into the flow is very good for our mental health. 15. Avoid sitting in one place for too long. Stay mobile. 16. Get fresh air regularly. Take walks in green spaces. Be out in nature. 17. Engage in meaningful conversation with others. 18. Help others, especially those who are in no position to return the favour. As someone who has served multiple charities over the years, I can promise you, normally it feels great to do good for others who need help. 19. Adopt an attitude of gratitude. No one has a perfect life, despite the appearance many try to create on social media. We all have both problems and things to be grateful for. If you are reading this, you are alive and breathing. You are literate. You can hear, if you're listening to this audio version, and you have access to an electronic device. You have lots to be grateful for. 20. Learn something new. Whether that is theoretical, artistic or practical seems not to matter. For instance, I am currently learning to play a musical instrument. I know I will never perform professionally, but the joy of learning is wonderful. What will you choose to learn? 21. Watch a video or listen to an audio program you know will fill you with a sense of awe. For instance, I find cosmology endlessly fascinating and love watching documentaries on anything connected with it. There is good reason to believe that the more of the above techniques you use, the less likely you are to become depressed, and the more likely you are to improve if you are already depressed. If you decide to adopt just one technique a week until all of them are part of your pattern of habits, you will be better able to deal with the factors that may otherwise have led you to depression. To protect your mental health, which of the 21 techniques above will you start with?